This is a podcast from the Movie Pod Squad Network. For more shows like this, visit MoviePodSquad.com.
Welcome to Super Movie Brothers. Let's start the show.
Welcome to Super Movie Brothers, episode 49, just one more week before our 1 year anniversary.
Love it.
I'm your host, Super Movie Brother Dave.
I'm your host, Super Movie Brother Jay.
Jay, what the fuck did you do this week?
Nothing.
Yeah. No, come on.
No,
You teased a little.
Stuff.
You said you didn't watch anything because you were too busy muff diving.
Yeah, I was dating on some nice dates. And, it took away from my TV/movie time. So I was only able to kind of watch a couple episodes of House of Cards and Better Call Saul. And that's pretty much it. And I'm just kind of catching up with that.
How are you liking Better Call Saul? What's it on season 4? Now they got what's his name with the bell on his wheelchair.
It just took a turn. It just took a turn for the better.
The better,
where
okay.
It's starting to now push into a little bit more of like the Breaking Bad type world.
Well, see, that's not better. That's not what I was interested in. I wasn't interested in getting to Breaking Bad. I was always more interested in the character of Saul Goodman.
That's what I'm saying. We're starting to see Saul Goodman's character now kind of come out a little bit more.
But I mean, it bothers me
going towards that direction a little bit more.
Like bringing Gus in. Like, what's the point of bringing Gus in? Well, we know who Gus is, and we know where Gus goes eventually, and we know how Gus ends.
But we know that story with everybody. But it's interesting to see how they got there.
No, what I'm more interested in is seeing how
we're seeing how the cartel, how Gus's empire began, and how he kind of grew.
That doesn't interest me, man. This is just like the Star Wars prequels.
Because I thought it was pretty interesting.
It's like the Star Wars prequels, man. It's like you're telling a story that we already knew, but you're just telling us how we got there. And I don't care about that.
It doesn't hold a candle to Breaking Bad.
Tell me, give me the
I
Breaking.
like being in the world because you still feel like you are there. You feel like you are still a part of that Breaking Bad world. You're just almost like, it's like Back to the Future or something like that. You're kind of like going back and sort of like seeing, these characters back in the day and how they were.
Give me the sequel series, Jesse, Alaskan Meth. And it's going to be, but instead of like being like Breaking Bad, it's one of those mockumentary shows where like it pretends like it's an actual documentary, like Alaskan bush people,
right,
and ice road truckers.
Like, yo, bitch, I'm in Alaska.
Yeah. But it's Jesse, Alaskan Meth.
Try my blue meth.
Oh man, the DEA came in, they stole all my Bunsen burners and my beakers, so I'd gone and decided that I'm going to teach you guys how to cook meth inside moose anus. That's the way Alaskan Jesse cooks meth. Oh, Jay, how did some of your dates go? How'd they go?
It was nice. No, I mean, okay, so all right, so the one girl we realized we weren't meant.
See them titties first?
No, nothing.
Just see them titties first?
Nothing. It was very, very generic.
Over the brawl still counts as second base.
She. I don't even want to get into details, but she's had some fucked up trauma in her past. Not from her doing. It's literally it's just straight up bad luck. And she's a really good girl, hard worker. But she's a friend of mine's. He's older than me, but niece. So I met a friend of mine's sister, and she's like,
Jay,
all about me. She was like, "You got to meet my daughter. She's had a tough time. You got like," and I was
You're really selling it, man.
But I had a girlfriend at the time. Like, I'm sorry, I can't. Blah blah blah, and then whatever. Finally, kind of came about where we went on some dates, and it just didn't work out. But this other girl dating, and I know her through another friend of mine, and it's going well. She actually lived in Iceland for the last couple years, and before that,
You know what the only thing I know about Iceland is? Greenland is covered in ice, and Iceland is very nice. And where did we learn that, Jay?
D2, baby, the Mighty Ducks.
That's right. Gordon Bombay, the Minnesota Miracle Man, comes back. Yeah, because I'm supposed to believe that these kids that played Pee Wee hockey suddenly shocked the nation.
Well, and it's funny too because like I saw her, I think a week after she got back home because her green card ran or expired or something like that, and she was so culture shocked. Like we went to the vault, and she's just so baffled by like the way society is.
What, she was like baffled that no one was clubbing seals and dragging their dead bodies into the fucking bar?
You really think about it, like she's like literally like in like a commune, like I don't know, like some kind of like area, like working for like 2 years, and it's just like a whole different kind of world, And she comes back to here, it's like wow, it's just a whole other world.
Here.
2 years, that's a long time. 2 years living in a place like that.
We're the suburb of a major of a major eastern city. It's not like it's that there's not that much culture to miss out on. There's not a whole lot going on here.
It's a lot different though.
All right, man. Well, so all right, here's a question I want to ask.
But everything went well.
Two dates, two different girls, or was there a third?
The third was with the other girl that's going well.
Okay. So you went on one date, it wasn't going well. You went on another date with two other dates with another girl. What's their middle age? Like, what's their median age there? Just want to know.
26.
So how old's one?
Maybe 25 and a half.
How old?
I think it's 24 and 27, I believe.
24 and 27. That's respectable.
And the one that's going well is 24.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's 20.
Oh, yeah. For some reason, I thought she
All
was
right,
26.
so it's in the mid 20s range. Right.
And that's been the last couple girlfriends of mine.
Because here's the thing.
It's funny how that
you're in a tight spot because you start dating girls your own age. You're gonna have to like kids because most girls your age have already either been married and divorced or have a kid, or they're looking for something different than maybe what you can offer.
Look, I mean, I love kids. You know that.
Yeah, you get along with my kid.
But
she tolerates
I deal with kids all day long for work. The last thing I want to do is go home to kids. like if I had to deal with that in my personal life, I feel like I would have to get a whole new job. Like I really do. I swear to God, I would have to get a different kind of job that does not require me to work with kids on a hands-on kind of basis for my job. I just couldn't do it. I can't do it. I can't go from work and then home and both having to deal with
kids are lovably retarded. I love them. They're so stupid.
I don't know, man. I just need some downtime.
Like it was. So it was Father's Day weekend, obviously. So
I know. Please
I got to do some Father's Day things.
Happy Father's Day, dude.
Thanks. I mean, we had like a pretty busy weekend. It was a lot of fun. But Logan's into that phase where it's like, Daddy, watch this. Daddy, watch this. And she's doing the most mundane thing possible. She's like, she's throwing something up in the air and then not catching it. And then she's like, did you see it? Did you see me do it? And it's like that phase. And it's like, at times it's really fucking adorable. But then there's times where I'm driving where it's like, Daddy, look at this. Daddy, look at this. Daddy, look at that. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. I will wrap this car around a tree. I swear to God.
Really, stop it.
But no, it was, she was adorable all weekend. So Saturday we went to Trenton Art All Night, which is like this 48-hour art festival that's going on. There's constantly live music going on one of 3 stages. There is tons of original artwork that's done by people. I took a bunch of pictures. I posted it up on.
How long is that going on for?
It's over now.
Oh.
It was Saturday. Because I
didn't know anything about it. And when you mentioned it, it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We go every year. We go to that and the punk rock flea market every year, which is pretty much the same thing. But there's beer. There's food trucks everywhere. There's live art going on. There's a film festival going on. There's silent disco. I mean, you can bid on things. There's silent auctions. It's a lot of fun. You can buy original artwork. Some artwork is not for sale. Some of it is for sale. It all depends on the artist and stuff like that. And I was talking about it, and I think I said it last year, and I did. But I was like, man, I would actually really like to just put something in there. Like, I would just like to do something. Just put it in there. It doesn't need to be sold or anything like that. I'll just put it in there. And I told Lauren, I was like, I've been taking a lot of pictures lately. I like photography a little bit. Maybe I'll just snap some pictures, slap it on canvas, and put it in there and sell it for $200 and see who buys it. But no, we had a lot of fun. Logan had a lot of fun walking around, looking at stuff. We went with Lauren's twin sister and her kid. Her kid made the newspaper. Was in the newspaper, just being a kid, dancing and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun doing that. And then Father's Day came. They got to take me out to brunch at this place called KC Prime.
I love brunch.
So it's this place KC Prime, and it's like a bit of an upscale steakhouse. So they take me to this upscale steakhouse, Lauren and my daughter, and my daughter's 3. So we get there, and they ask me what I want to order for her, and I said, like, I'll get her a chocolate milk, and then they say, all right, well, you can go up and get food whenever you want. So me and Lauren got her some pancakes, got her some sausage, and got her some bacon. She loves sausage and bacon. So she's sitting there, and the forks they give you are like the size of your fucking hand. Like, they're massive. I swear to God, in my hand, they're at least like 2 pounds. It's not like any child can just pick them up, especially a 3-year-old with zero dexterity can pick it up and use it. So I asked the lady, I was like, do you guys have like a salad fork, like a smaller fork? And she's like, no, this is an adult steakhouse. And I'm like, the fuck? Fuck you. You're telling me on Father's Day there's not kids in here? You don't have a tiny fork somewhere? So she comes back later on and she goes, this is all we have. It's a cocktail fork. I was like, I don't care. It'll work. It's small. You care. And then, like,
what a fucking bitch.
I know. And my kid's like,
how does a waitress talk like that? Like, come on.
She was actually like really well behaved, Logan, which historically she's been terrible at restaurants, like awful.
Oh, I used to be horrible at her age. Oh my God.
But she was mostly good, considering the way she used to be.
My parents actually always telling me a story about this one time. They'll never let this down. I was around her age. Horrible mess. I mean, we were on vacation. Julie wasn't born yet, and they were having the most difficult time with me out to dinner, and the waitresses all just like offered to just kind of like take me outside, just like take me to the kitchen, like just completely like occupy my time and like distract me while my parents could just like literally eat and just kind of like chill for like a little bit because I was such a racket.
We've been there. So, like, other people are there enjoying their Father's Day and stuff like that. But Logan was being mostly good. And, like, so I just asked, like, do you guys have crayons or anything like that? And, like, the lady gave me, like, the dirtiest look that I would even ask whether they had a fucking crayon. You know what? I would have taken a piece of paper and a fucking pen. I don't care. But it didn't matter because once Logan was eating, we were keeping her engaged. We gave her a cell phone to play with, and everything was fine.
As parents do nowadays.
Yeah. But, well, she just likes looking at pictures. That's all she does. She just scrolls through Lauren's pictures. But, I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, obviously there's other kids around here. Like, I don't know what they do to make their kids behave. But sometimes, especially at like 10 o'clock in the morning, my kid just slept for 10 hours. There's nothing but piss and vinegar inside that thing. And it's a tiny little powder keg. And it will blow if you don't give her enough stimulation. So... But it was actually a very lovely brunch because Logan calmed down pretty quick and was very, very manageable.
Good.
So other than that, I got for Father's Day gift, I got a home brewing kit.
Nice.
Yeah, it's sitting over there in the corner. So I'm gonna.
I guess a little fun fact: the girl I'm dating, she just actually for her Father's Day gift to her dad, did a brew tour at River Horse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Lambertville.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of their beers, but
she was so into it where she was like talking about, I want to like now craft my own beers and like this and that. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Cool.
So I mean, the idea is I'm going to use. I mean, the home brew kit, it's reusable. It's not like you get rid of it and stuff like that. It makes a gallon. So I used to home brew like a little bit, like back in the day, college days, and it never turned out very well. So I just kind of like gave up on it. So I'm going to give it another shot, and I decided I'm going to do kits. I'm going to do a couple kits. Just kind of like get the feel for it and then start to like experiment.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, so I'm sure if anybody can do it,
I'm excited. I'm excited. I mean, I like cooking. I know it's not, one for one. It's not exactly the same, but it's fun. So I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to see where it goes. I'm going to make this one. It's a legacy double IPA that I'm going to be making first. And I definitely have some ideas of stuff that I want to do in the future. Let's just see how a couple of these kits turn out first. If I start, if I do well with these, I'll start to innovate and try to do something my own, and then maybe I'll come up with a themed beer for our show.
Yeah, as long as you document, make sure you have all the everything down to the
it's gonna be
exact
fun.
Science.
And then as far as like watching goes, I really didn't watch anything. Like I didn't watch anything like new. Like I didn't go nuts with anything new. But what I did do, we do have our episode of Movie Cocktail Podcast coming out. First week in July. It should be out. So what I ended up doing was I watched Jurassic Park because that's the movie we were talking about. So we watched Jurassic Park that night. So I watched The Lost World, I watched Jurassic Park 3, and I watched Jurassic World. Now, what I realized was all the love and all the praise that in Movie Cocktail that we are going to shower all over Jurassic Park. None of it is deserved in any of those other films.
No, it's not.
That's not to say that The Lost World isn't good. It's not to say that Jurassic World isn't good in its way. It's just like all the love and praise that like we showered all over Jurassic Park in the Movie Cocktail episode that will be coming out
on the original.
Yeah. I mean, there's no more wonder and awe in the second one. They get there and it just kind of like, it's kind of like in your face action. Like the first encounter that they have with a dinosaur is an attack. It's the Stegosaurus attacking. And then it was almost like, the standard sequel protocol. Bigger, better, more intense. Like that's what you got to do.
At the same time, what do you really expect, honestly? The first real dinosaur movie to come out was a huge success. I mean, Steven Spielberg knocked it out of the park.
Okay, fair enough. So let's fast forward. We all know Jurassic Park 3 is just horrendous shit. Like, there's a scene, and I know everyone knows, but there's a scene that's on a plane where Alan Grant's sleeping, and the character of Billy is calling his name. And when Alan, thinks he wakes up and he looks, a raptor looks at him and goes, Alan! And it's like, it's a raptor talking.
That's fucked up.
And I was like, what the fuck? This is so fucking cartoonish and stupid. You know how cartoonish it is? Mr. Noodle from Sesame Street is in that fucking movie. He plays Mr. Udesky. I mean, that guy's dead in real life, so. But but anyway, the movie is so fucking awful. Like, it's just so bad. And it actually comes from, a pretty decent director, Joe Johnston. He did Captain America, First Avenger, The Rocketeer. Man, fucking Rocketeer. It's a fucking awesome movie.
I never saw it.
You never saw The Rocketeer?
No.
Holy shit, you need to reach into that DVD collection right next to you, and you need to pick yourself out The Rocketeer and take that shit home. It's a fucking awesome, awesome movie. I have so much fun with it. But anyway, and then we get to Jurassic World. Now, Jurassic World is where it gets a little bit more hopeful. People really like that film. There's things that I really enjoy in that film. I love the way it expands on a universe. I dig that. I dig that a lot. What I don't like is they kind of tease you with the Indominus Rex, where you see it. You see it a half hour into the film. We talked about Jurassic Park, where the T-Rex doesn't happen until an hour into the fucking film.
Yeah.
The tour starts 45 minutes into the film. The T-Rex is an hour into the fucking film.
Mm-hmm.
And, with Jurassic World, once
and then the Raptors are kind of
right, once the
main co-star.
Right, once the Indominus Rex gets out, it's just nonstop. There's almost no quiet moments. If you think about Jurassic Park, once the action started, you had that quiet moment with Hammond and Laura Dern with Ellie. Where he talks about why he created all this and stuff like that. You don't get any of that in Jurassic World. You get almost no character development. Who is Owen in that?
Yeah,
he's nothing. He's just that we know that he's in the Navy. We know that he controls raptors with his hands, like the Beastmaster. It
was an action movie. It was another straight up action movie.
Right, and that's my problem with it. I mean, it's not saying it's not good. It's not saying it's not enjoyable. It's a ton of fun to watch. I really enjoy watching it.
It is, but the thing is, they set up that world. Because it was such a current, modern day, plausible type of world to some degree.
Yeah, exactly.
So they had that room where they could have developed a little bit more of a character.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Not just with him, but with Jessica and with even the boys. The boys probably technically had more screen time to develop their characters.
Yeah, no,
for their story.
But the autistic little brother.
Yeah, it just was
not enough there for you to be like, oh, he's on the spectrum. But there's enough there that you're like, wait, that's a weird thing to say. More teeth? We need more teeth? Why would you say that? What's your deal?
It just
you know what they
felt
realized?
It was undershot, or the script was kind of a little bit butchered to some degree, maybe throughout shooting. I don't know. I felt like there was something better in the works for that movie, and it just sort of got slimmed down and kind of put into a little bit more of an action movie. Because I thought it had a lot of potential, and it just didn't quite deliver. I really enjoyed the movie, and I really did. I thought it was a good return to form to some degree.
I don't know. I'm hearing rumors.
Not return to form, but as far as it kind of got people excited again with that
Right,
world.
But now I'm hearing rumors about the second one, and there's no like plot details.
Oh, I don't know any rumors yet.
But so far, the rumors are that it's spoilers. I guess spoilers. Yeah, just move ahead to the next segment, which I don't know when that is, so I can't put in an editor's note. So whatever. Hit mute and come back. I don't give a shit. But anyway,
is it really that much of a spoiler?
no. I mean, they're basically saying that it's gonna center around Blue and InGen, going back to supposedly Isla Nublar to capture Blue and use her to breed a whole new set of raptors that will be more docile and better controlled for military application. And of course, Owen will then have to, because he loves Blue, doesn't want to see her exploited, and will have to go out there and stop it. And also because he's been against the whole InGen militarization of animals anyway. At some point, they're going to get Ian Malcolm involved, obviously, because life finds a way. And it's going to be more of like a globe-trotting movie because they're filming in England. They have a couple other places in Western Europe.
I'm not loving that, dude. I'm not loving that.
Yeah, I think you
if
take
that's true. I'm not liking
you take it off the island. You take it out of the park. You lose that.
You lose everything.
Yeah.
You have to stick. I mean, if you're gonna do a movie like this, you have to stick with the formula.
Right.
This is not gonna. You can't turn into like a Godzilla movie.
Right. And I mean,
you can't have raptors in fucking London in the streets.
Now,
like,
it makes
pick off
sense.
people.
It makes sense if InGen is going back, because we know that they plan on coming back. They stole the research. It makes sense if InGen's going back to capture what they can to start their military application or to try and start a new park or start something else. And Owen then goes there to stop them. That would make sense. But it doesn't make sense to have him in Western Europe and then doing kind of like this globe-trotting thing. So help me God, if it ends with Blue running through the streets of New York.
Or any fucking city.
It's just, so far what I'm hearing, now obviously we're seeing a small picture of it. We're seeing like a very
or watch him be like in Iraq or something
and
like
for
that.
all we know, this could be subplot B. Like, it might not even be like the main plot. It might be the vehicle that just gets them to the main plot.
Yeah, possibly. You really never know. I mean, because honestly, it is all rumors.
But, I mean, I'm just not... Colin Trevorrow is not directing. He's just the executive producer this time, along with Steven Spielberg. So they got a new director, same actors. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like this beloved franchise that had... It kind of went downhill.
For me, the problem is it was fast-tracked.
Right. It had a minor...
And that's what I'm worried about, because this is not the property that you could really fast-track, because... We're dealing with dinosaurs, people, and you need to have... That's hard to do. Like, really, when you think about it, kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I've literally seen Lord of the Rings where they did fucking walking trees and made people believe it. So, dinosaurs are...
But that's a straight-up fantasy.
But, I mean, like... I don't know. It's just like there was a little bit of a rise in the franchise with Jurassic World, and I just really hope that instead of matching that, we just go past that.
I just need another on-par movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's what I'm hoping for.
I just need Jurassic Park.
I don't want it to start dipping down low again.
Just need Jurassic Park, man. Just need it back. Just need something like that in my life, man. I miss old Spielberg films, man. I miss them. They really don't. There's nothing out there like that today.
Ready Player One, I'm holding on hope to, because, my God, I feel like he might come back to the practical effect world a little bit.
Yeah.
To some degree. Obviously, you can't do it all that way.
Let's move on from this discussion a little bit. Jay, what's your favorite Quentin Tarantino film?
Either Kill Bill or Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
Oh, God. Death Proof.
The one he hates the most. Previously to this weekend.
How did I forget that?
Previously to this weekend, I would probably say Pulp Fiction or Death Proof. But after I listened,
as favorites, it's one of those things.
I listened to More Gooder Than. They had an episode about 3 weeks ago, I think, where they talked about the three newest Quentin Tarantino films. They talked about Inglourious Bastards, Django Unchained, and The Hateful Eight. And I watched those, the first couple times I watched them, I was not blown away by them. Not in the same way I was by like Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs or Death Proof, stuff like that. I enjoyed them, but these are films that always get better every time you watch them.
That's actually very true. That is true.
And my new favorite Quentin Tarantino film is 100% Django Unchained.
Well, I was actually going to mention that because I think that out of the three movies, Django was the one I enjoyed the most on first viewing. Now, The Hateful Eight, I have not seen that many times. I've seen it twice.
This weekend was my third watching of it.
Okay. I've seen it twice, and the second time was a little bit in parts. It wasn't full. It wasn't from start to finish, because that's a long motherfucking movie.
What I actually realized was Hateful Eight has an awesome beginning, an awesome first and second act.
But Inglourious Basterds kind of drags.
Yeah, well, that's Inglourious Basterds' problem. Yeah,
that's the thing.
Christoph Waltz is not on screen enough in Inglourious Basterds is what it comes down to.
Yeah,
and neither is Brad Pitt, who I think is fantastic in that too.
He is.
But who really steals that show is Michael Fassbender, because that whole scene in that basement bar is amazing. But for Django Unchained, dude, like Christoph Waltz, the second he comes on, he's just you're just drawn to him. You just can't help but love him, and the everything that him and Django go through, like it goes from this strange story of like Django being introduced to this new world, to Django learning about this new world and being taught it by King Schultz, and then basically when King dies, he becomes that world. Like he is now the new embodiment of it. And he's the fastest gun in the South.
And I'll be honest, I'm really happy that Jamie Foxx was casted, because originally it was Will Smith. I mean,
my God.
No, to the point where Will Smith was growing out his beard. Like it was very close to being Will Smith.
And I think Django.
I forget what happened. I forget what happened with that, but
maybe he had a problem with saying the N-word so many times. I mean, that. Dude.
I think it was definitely between him and Quentin. It was a conflict of artistic.
So Django, I think, has this awesome story that builds to its third act, and the third act is a huge payoff. Where Inglourious Basterds meanders until its third act, and Hateful Eight starts out so well, so high up, right? I really enjoy everything that goes on in the stagecoach. I really enjoy the whole first act that ends with them sitting down to dinner, and then finally, obviously they eat they drink the poison coffee, and you watch Bone Tomahawk, Kurt Russell puking out his guts and blood and everything like that, and that's really the last part. It's really great about that, and it kind of just goes on this downward slope from there, and it just kind of ends in a whimper. It doesn't really have the same type of ending that Django has. And I feel dude, Django, if you haven't watched Django in a while, it's now off Netflix. It's not streaming anywhere. It's not on any premium channels right now. So I literally had to have the hankering so much to watch this motherfucker that I paid $4.99 to
I have the DVD
to rent it. I wish I knew, but I did order it, so I bought it, and I was like, you know what, it should be in my collection, because the only ones I don't have are Django and The Hateful Eight. They're the only ones I don't have.
See, that's the thing. Like I said, Django is the only DVD I will own. I'm not going to buy Inglourious Basterds, and I'm not going to buy The Hateful Eight.
No, I probably won't.
They're not buy worthy for me. I'm kind of selective, loose nowadays, with my DVD buying. So, But that one is worthy for me, because, again, like I said, on first viewing, that really held up a lot more than the other two. However, all three I do enjoy, and you're right, they do get better in repeat viewings.
Yeah, they
do. You
do.
really do appreciate Quentin Tarantino's work, because it's an experience, and they're unique films, and they are all quality works.
Yeah, so
that's the thing,
they really are. So I just want to say thanks to MGT, because honestly, I kind of wrote all these off as you know what, Quentin Tarantino will never be what he was. He's on the downward slope of his career. He's Spielberging the shit out of everything. And then I went back and watched them, and I was like, no, there's a fucking ton to digest here. These are a lot of fun to watch. And damn, he still writes a scene really fucking well. So coming up next, Jay has a little indie darling that he wants to talk about.
Perhaps I do.
He's gonna go take himself off into the corner, pour himself a bourbon neat, stare creepily into all of your souls. He's going to tell you how he can read
you want that.
He's going to tell you how his girlfriend can read your chakra. And tell you just exactly what indie movie you're in the mood for. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Jay's Indie Corner. He's poured himself a bourbon neat. Not literally this time, because we just spent 2 hours talking about our top 5 comedies.
That's my burp from my the beer and just fucking Netflix and swill.
Which is a mini-sode that you can check out before this episode, so it's already up. So if you only listen to the main episodes, make sure you go check out the mini-sode with Dan and Caleb from Netflix and Swill. I promise you, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun
Those
enough
guys
to
are
listen.
fun.
It's fun enough to listen to. So Jay, what indie darling do you have for us this week?
This movie is called Christine.
I got one for this.
Please give it to me.
All right, so it is about the most popular girl in school. Every girl wants to be her. Every dude wants her to have his abortion. And she's beautiful, blonde hair. She goes out on a date with the mysterious stranger that just came to town. His name's Caleb. That's for you, Netflix and Swell.
That's for you guys.
He takes her up to Lookout Point, man. And, he just winds up talking about his car the whole time. He's like this big gearhead. And he shows her the car. He opens up the hood and she's looking at it and she's not too impressed. He gets mad and he slams the hood down right on top of her fingers, man. Cuts her fingers all up. She just got bit by the car, Jay.
Damn.
Right? Next morning she wakes up. She's got tire treads on her arms. The next day she wakes up. She's got headlights where her tits were. Next day she wakes up. She's a full-on 1968 Chevy Bel Air. She turns into a car, and in her rage that she is no longer the pretty girl in school, she goes on a murderous rampage. And that
all right,
is what Christine is all about.
Not quite accurate.
Later on, Stephen King writes a book or something about it. I don't fucking know. Jay, what's the new adventures of old Christine about? I mean, young adventures of new Christine. I mean, Christine. What's it all about?
Okay, so Christine, you can find this on Netflix right now. This is a true story. This film is written by Craig Shilowitz and directed by Antonio Campos. Follows a socially awkward news reporter who suffers from depression, stress, and her stress is due to her career ambitions and lack of love life. She's in love with Michael C. Hall, the main news anchor on the network. Christine is played very, very well by Rebecca Hall. I mean, Rebecca Hall we've seen in The Town, we've seen in the shitty movie.
So wait. Michael C. Hall,
yes,
and Rebecca Hall,
a.k.a. Dexter,
are together.
That's true.
In a film.
That's true.
It's a little incestuous, man.
Slightly.
It's disgusting.
Slightly. But do they do it? No, they don't.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess
she's just obsessed with him.
Oh, okay.
And it never happens.
I mean, I was when he was Dexter, but I mean, anything else, I'm really not a big fan of.
No, he's actually he doesn't. I think he's been doing a lot of plays, a lot of different theater kind of.
He's
work.
Also been directing and producing
I hear
a lot.
All of his theater work has been really strong. I mean, he's a good actor. I mean, he is, and he has a presence. And I think he was really good in this role. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is a movie that's. It definitely flies under the radar, and it is a hard movie to watch. It's a serious, subject matter, but it's set in the 70s, and it shows.
I love the 70s.
Her early days at this small local news station. Everybody's trying to, trying to.
So wait a minute.
Trying to get,
basically, she is
career.
Christina Applegate's
sort of
role in Anchorman. Which we just talked about in the minisode.
Right, exactly. But a more socially awkward introvert version of sorts, and less sexually.
The only question
ambitious.
is, does Michael C. Hall love scotch? Scotch.
Oh, he does.
It goes in my belly.
He likes banging everybody but Rebecca Hall, unfortunately. Ooh. So, it shows their struggles to keep up, with their other, growing times with that day and age. And you see how she battles to reach out to others, yet not connect as well as others are trying to connect with her, and she disconnects, essentially. It's shot really, really nicely on a 16mm film and has like that constant bleak tone that makes you anxious and, to find out what they're keeping for this end.
She's in a better movie. You could have talked about The Gift. That at least has Egerton.
I understand, and Egerton actually directed that movie.
He did.
The Gift, and it's a really strong movie. Maybe I will talk about that one day. However, not tonight. Because this is.
He's like, fuck you, Dave. Not tonight.
Is that even on Netflix?
No, that's on Showtime.
Oh, okay.
It's on Showtime right now. Just watched it a couple days ago for the second time. I've tried to watch it so many times. I kept falling asleep during
Jason
it.
Bateman.
Yeah. Actually, Jason Bateman sells himself as a bad guy in that really well. Like
He does.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, he's got some Teen Wolf. He's got some Teen Wolf left in there.
That's all Edgerton. Honestly, I swear to God, it's all Edgerton. Because like he is, I think, a real deal.
Jay, I'm just derailing you from this news fest that you're giving people about Christine.
No, but again, it's a true story, and I didn't know about her.
Jay, the most important thing, the thing you forget to give people is, did you like this movie? Is it worth their time to watch it? Is it worth the Netflix watch?
I like the movie. If you're looking for a really dour, solid drama, that's a true story, you're going to like this movie. Otherwise, if you're looking for an enjoyable, just casual movie to watch, do not watch this movie.
Yeah, don't watch something else. I give this movie a little go, and I wasn't really that impressed with it. I wasn't crazy about it. It didn't tickle any of my fancies.
No, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it worked for what it was, and that was it. I mean, it's a hard movie. It's a hard movie to sell. It's a hard movie to watch.
Well, I mean, that's going to do it for Jay's Indie Corner, man. We just ended on a fucking flop, like a belly flop.
And I knew it was going to flop, but it's just one of those movies.
It's like you climbed the entire, 60 feet all the way up to the high dive, and you got up there, and then you're like, I'm going to jump, and then you did, and you forgot to swan dive. You just belly flopped.
When you come off of Place Beyond the Pines with Ryan Gosling and Bradley Cooper, I mean, there's only one way to go, and that's down.
Ryan Gosling shirtless with tattoos, counting all them ducats.
Fucking A.
So coming up next, me and Jay got 2 beers from Conshohocken Brewing Company. That's Conshohocken Brewing Company, right outside of our home state of Pennsylvania.
And we might be liking them.
We might be. Maybe.
Maybe. We'll see.
You enjoy one more than I do. So stay tuned for that. Welcome back. We have our beers for this week, and keeping with June's theme of all Pennsylvania beers, we got another brewing company from just outside of Philadelphia. We got Conshohocken Brewing Company. It's such a fun name to say, Conshohocken. Conshohocken is it's a town that's probably about.
Yeah, we talked about it. It's a nice, charming town.
It's about 30 minutes away from us, so I mean, it's two exits.
Hefty 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's 2 exits down the turnpike,
And not a fun drive after drinking and partying.
No, and it's not a fun drive when you have. I worked in Conshohocken for a while. It's a little far. It's down by Norristown and everything like that. So it's on the other side.
Oh my God, I'm thinking of Manioc. My bad. Yeah, I'm all over the place.
Dude, yeah. I mean, your brain has just taken a big wet fucking shit.
Well, you know what Conshohocken is? That's for the people who used to live and party in Manioc. They graduate. They get married and have kids and go to Conshohocken.
That's right. That's
where they go.
It's Montgomery County, Montco.
Yes.
it's Montco. It's where all the rich go in Montco. But I mean, I've had a few of the beers from here before. I've never been crazy blown away. But then I've been checking out these. I've been getting a lot of these pint cans lately because I spend so much time walking up and down the aisles looking at bottles and shit like that. It's gotten to the point where I've tried everything I pretty much want to try, and I'm not really finding anything new or that interests me. And then Christina a couple weeks ago was just like, "Why don't you check out the cans in the refrigerator that sit at the front?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, why don't I?" And she's like, "A lot of it is where all the local stuff goes because canning is a lot cheaper than bottling."
It makes sense.
So a lot of the local stuff was in there, and that's where I got the idea. Let's just do an entire month of PA, man. And of course, we get to round out the month next week with our super fucking mega beer review, where everybody involved in the beer exchange is gonna be sending us 2 reviews of 2 beers that they got in the beer exchange. And what they didn't know was I'm gonna decide a winner.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's gonna be a winner. I didn't tell anyone it was gonna be a contest, but the person that received the person that gave the 2 highest reviewed beers is gonna be.
What, our scores averaged out or something like that?
No, they're doing scores 1 out of 5.
Oh.
1 out of 5. Everyone's doing scores 1 out of 5. They're going to send me their audio of their review. And then the person who sent the beers with the highest review, that's going to be the Movie Pod Squad Beer Champion. That's right. I'm looking forward to it. But the nice part is, I think Wes sent us a good amount. It should be in the mail this week. I'll have to save it because next week, as you know, is our flight week.
It is.
So Wes is going to send us a bunch of beer from North Carolina, and me and you will probably get 4, so we'll be able to do a flight out of it. And the nice part is it's not going to mess up with the scoring if me and you score 4 of them because it's the 2 highest that you would take at that point.
Yeah,
So
sure.
it's going to be a good time.
I'm really excited for it.
All right, so the beer I am drinking is the Conshohocken Type A India Pale Ale. It's 7% alcohol per volume, and this thing is really, really, really dry. It's really nice. It's juicy.
You like a little juicy and
I
a little
do.
dry.
I like it juicy, and I like best of both worlds, my friend. But I mean, it's really well blended. It's got a blend of Citra, Mosaic, and Simcoe hops. And you know, I actually expected it to be like almost like a 5 hop with how much like boldness you get with it. I mean, you get a lot of hops like right on the nose with this. So I expected it to be a little bit, you know, I expected it to be like a 5 hop mix because it kind of has
resembles that similar kind
Right.
of taste and flavor.
And it doesn't
up front.
have as much like pininess and bitterness as Shape of Hops to Come. That's not the knock Shape of Hops to Come because I think Shape of Hops to Come is a better beer than this.
But this is a little bit more my kind of beer because it's a little bit more drinkable. It's a little slightly more mild. It doesn't have that tougher aftertaste that somebody who's more into that kind of taste for IPAs like you are. You enjoy that more. I enjoy a little bit more on the milder side, and it's a very nice, drinkable, interesting IPA. It really is. It's got some bold flavor up front, but it doesn't make it too dry or bitter at the finish for me.
It's quietly complex. It's that dark, mysterious boy sitting in the corner. But anyway,
Twirling his mustache.
I'm going to be giving this a solid 3.5.
Nice.
Solid 3.5.
I'm down with that.
All right, Jay, you got one that we historically have never found one that we really like too much.
Historically.
Well, except for the Flying Dog Blood Orange, but that's a Blood Orange Ale, not a Blood Orange IPA.
Right. Well, this is definitely up there for me. The Blood Money Blood Orange India Pale Ale from Conshohocken. It is 6.7 alcohol by volume, and it has a nice light sweet nose, but all the great flavors that you want in a Blood Orange.
I like the
IPA.
way you said that. Nose. It's got a great nose.
But it has that. It has a great balance of all the flavors that you would want. It's not overpowering. It's not too bitter. It's not too sweet. And it's very drinkable. It doesn't leave that nasty bitter taste on my tongue.
I will say this. I had it last week, and I wasn't too crazy on it. But out of the Blood Orange IPAs that I have had, it balances its sweet and bitter and hoppiness a lot better than most of the other ones do. But it still has
definitely.
that heavy sweet, like almost like acid taste to it. Just like, I mean, because Blood
I
Orange.
like that better than when it's too bitter.
Bit him too. That's
like
a
I'm
corny
saying,
dad joke.
But honestly, this is definitely by far the best balanced Blood Orange IPA or Blood Orange beer in general that I've had in a very long time. So it really stands out to me, and I'm enjoying it, and it's very drinkable for me. So I'm not crazy about it. I'm not going to give it a 4. I think I'm going to give it a solid 3.5 as well because I think it's a really good beer. But again, you know, it's nothing too crazy.
You're like making love to it, man. It's like you're like tongue fucking that thing.
It's a pretty fucking cool can, guys. I mean, if you take a look at it, it's got the skull with the orange peels, its eyes, and you know, it's got some random coins and a cyclist and shit.
It's hot as shit in here, and that can looks mighty cold.
I know, that is true.
But Jay,
yeah, we got sweaty balls tonight, boys.
Jay, you're breaking all the rules. That beer's in a can, man. You're drinking it from a can.
I know. I don't have a clean glass right now. I accidentally poured a beer before the review.
Even though every week we, you know, when beer reviews are, I'm gonna go get a beer.
I was so excited to crack open a beer because we got 3 interesting beers tonight for drinking, and I cracked open a Stone unfiltered IPA.
Yeah, I grabbed one of those too.
And you do. Yeah.
It's the Enjoy by 717 one. So.
Yeah. It's nice.
I've been meaning to have a conversation with you. I wanted to talk to you.
Oh boy.
You've been drinking a lot lately, man. You've been drinking a lot.
What? Lately?
Yeah, like Lauren looks...
I feel like I've been drinking a lot more before than I am lately.
No, dude. Lauren like looks at like our leftovers like on Monday morning when they're all sitting on the corner of the counter ready to go out to recycle. On Tuesday morning, and she's like, "How many beers did you have?" And I'm like, "I had like 3." And then she's like, "There's like 10 cans up here," and it's like, Jay brings like a 6-pack and drinks like 5 of them, and then he drinks 2 fucking bourbons, man.
Shh. Parents might be listening.
I was like, man, I mean, I understand you're like 7 foot tall, so there's a lot of body for it to filter through. I'm just like, shit. Why do you think I've been telling you, bring your own beer to drink from now?
It's because I'm dreading working a double tomorrow, and I'd rather just go through the first half a day hungover. No, I don't know. I feel like I've been trying. Honestly, I've been trying to scale back. To be honest, I've cut down on the whiskey. Honestly, I mean, between all of us and all of our fans and listeners, I really haven't. I've cut down on the just straight bourbon drinking, when I go out or if I'm at home or something, just relaxing. Instead, I'm just kind of trying to just drink beer, just stick with the beer. Don't be doing mixing 101s, a shot of whiskey, a beer, whatever. Trying to cut down a little bit on that. So maybe I'm drinking a little bit more beers to compensate for it. I'm not exactly sure. I might be doing that. I don't know.
Maybe.
But even still, I feel like your
liver's going to go into failure without bourbon.
I think my liver's getting better because of that. In some ways, my calorie increases. My calorie intake has increased quite a bit right now, but I'm not getting as drunk. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know.
Dude, it's like a video game. Tolerance level up.
Should I buy you guys a new recycling can? Like a second recycling can?
A 4th, Jay. It's 4. We drink that much beer. It's 4 recycling cans we fill up like once a week. No, it's like a video game. Your liver is leveled up, so you're not getting as drunk anymore.
Plus, we're tacking on movie cocktails, so that's gonna be oof. Yeah,
that's true, man. So coming up next, me and Jay are gonna be talking about the Planet of the Apes films, Rise of the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, in anticipation for a film that I has been my most.
We were really anticipating this film a lot. This trailer was great.
Yeah, this is the film I've been waiting for all summer. I was very apprehensive about Alien Covenant, even though I'm a huge Alien fan. I knew from the trailers there's something I wasn't going to like about that. From the second I saw this first trailer, I was like, fuck, yes, I cannot fucking wait. So stay tuned for that. Welcome back. Me and Jay are here to talk about my most anticipated film of this summer. I'm talking about War for the Planet of the Apes. So years ago, in 2011, when I saw Rise of the Planet of the Apes, I was so apprehensive because I remember watching them as a kid. I loved Planet of the Apes, like the original one with Charlton Heston. Get your hands off me, you damn tiny apes! And, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Escape the Planet of the Apes, Conquest for the Planet of the Apes, Battle for the Planet of the Apes. They kept getting worse every time because they didn't have the budget. So in 2011, when they're kind of like rebooting it, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know where this was going. I just remember seeing.
Well, they tried to with the Burton movie, and it didn't work.
Oh, that was terrible. I didn't even. I was purposely steering us away from that. I wasn't even going to talk about it.
I know. I don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about it. We're focusing on.
Yeah, I'm focusing
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
on this series that's leading
this trilogy. This trilogy
that's leading to War for the Planet of the Apes.
That could potentially be one of the best trilogies that we've had in a very long time.
So, Rise of the Planet of the Apes was a really good movie, directed by Rupert Wyatt.
A good surprise movie.
Exactly.
Because nobody expected this.
No one expected. So I remember the trailers, and I remember thinking, like, Jesus Christ. I was a big zombie fan at the time, like zombie horror and stuff like that. I remember thinking, like, what's scarier than zombies. Holy shit. Infestation of apes. And like, it was weird. It hit me at like this right time where I had just watched a documentary about people who keep apes as pets. And like, male apes have this weird thing that when they go on a rampage, they attack genitals. For females, they attack the face and the breasts. For males, they attack the crotch.
God damn.
So like an entire swarm of apes was fucking scary as shit for me. So many crotches were getting bit. I was convinced that like monkeys were chimpanzees were ripping dicks off of people, just ripping them off.
Oh my God.
Like that's the image I had in my head. But I mean, honestly, by the time I sat down to watch the movie, they really painted a picture in a plausible way for the apes to develop into what they became. Like, you know, they made and that Caesar was the first natural birth of this like intelligence and stuff like that. And that was the first time we were sold on Andy Serkis in that mocap.
Right.
I mean, sold on it. Not fantastic, but sold on it. And that first film, it's not fantastic. It's not great.
It's not a perfect movie.
It's really good.
It's not fantastic.
It's really enjoyable.
It's just a very good, enjoyable movie.
And James Franco was in it a lot. And he's honestly the weakest part. Like, I think Jonathan Lithgow does 10 times better than James Franco does.
He really did.
In Rise of the Planet of the
And
Apes.
Frida Pinto is just forgettable.
But it doesn't matter, because by the end, Caesar home. I teared up, dude. Like, I started tearing up, man.
Yeah.
Like,
because this whole franchise is about Caesar, and it's about the apes.
That's exactly it.
It really is, the human characters are all just...
That's exactly what draws me to the series, is that, like, it's almost like this disease, this infestation that takes over the world, where the apes become sentient and people start dying from this virus. But what really gets me is the personal story between Caesar and his family. You know, I mean, that's the emotional resonance, because you're not seeing Caesar as a chimp. You know, you're seeing Caesar as your dog. You know, as your kid, as this thing that has feelings for these people that took care of him. But because he has intelligence, he realizes there's a greater calling for him. There's something that's bigger than him now. And he has to leave it all behind. And that's like one of the saddest things to me in it is that whole aspect. And the first one, it's not, like I said, it's not fantastic. It's not great.
Right.
It did nothing to excite me for the second movie. You know, it's just like, all right, that's how the Planet of the Apes starts. If they never make another one, I'm kind of happy with this one.
Yeah, but the trailer did it for me, and I thought,
Are you talking about War for the Planet of the Apes, or are you talking about like Rise of the Planet of the Apes? The trailer did it for you. Which trailer? Not War. I'm sorry.
The second movie.
I'm sorry.
Dawn.
Yeah, Dawn. Yeah.
Yeah, Dawn.
That's what I'm saying.
They brought some
Rise of the Planet of the Apes ends, and I could have cared less whether Dawn of the Planet of the Apes came or not. But when it did, when that trailer dropped,
exactly,
I realized I think I'm in for something more. Like, I think I'm in for something amazing.
Exactly, because it had, Matt Reeves directed this, and you could just tell right off the bat it had a different kind of tone. It had some characters coming back. But it also brought back like a lot of really good, current, substantial,
but 20 minutes
becoming leads, like Jason Clarke. Jason Clarke is like such an underrated actor.
Yeah, until he did Terminator Genesis.
Well, yeah.
But anyway,
Kerry Russell, Gary Oldman. I mean,
yeah, Gary Oldman, a fucking star,
on.
dude, fucking star.
Right.
And he wasn't just a mustache twirling villain. I mean, like if the roles were reversed and we were watching the human side of that story, Gary Oldman was the hero, right? Like, it's that type of duality that I loved about it. And I mean, the first 20 minutes, no talking.
That's one of my favorite parts about it. It was all about the apes.
I remember seeing this in the theater,
subtitles.
And you're watching Caesar's son go on that hunt, and he's hunting the elk and everything like that, and they take on the bear, and it's just like, and then humans come, and it's like they upset the balance. The apes were just living on their own. But because they were the cause, with quotation marks, of the disease, humans didn't want to interact with them. They wanted nothing to do with them. And if anything, they blamed them and they wanted to eradicate them. And I think, you really see that Caesar never wanted this war. And that's what this film, that's what Rise of the Planet of the Apes like really sells, is that Caesar wanted to lead his people into prosperity, but he wanted to do it through peace. And he thought by moving them deep into the forest, they would never encounter mankind again. It's only through the intervention of Kubo, who's like his wartime consigliere. he's his Sonny Corleone, you know. He's his he's the one that's got a screw loose. And they set his character up like perfectly in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, because he was the one that was the most abused. You know, he's covered in these scars from scientific experiments. And he was born in a lab. So, I mean, how could a chimp that...
It was such a great conflict.
Exactly.
It was so good.
How could a chimp that was raised that way ever trust humanity, where Caesar understands that some humans can't be trusted, but he wants to give them the benefit of the doubt because he's had that good experience with a human. Yeah. And we never talk about James Franco again either. I mean, we just assume that he dies. And that was one of the things that really surprised me about Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Because in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, those trailers were completely sold on the fact that these are the actors that are in our movie, not Caesar.
Well, I think what they realized was Caesar was the star of Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
He was also the legend that exists in the original film. Mm-hmm. Caesar's the one that rises. He causes the conquest for the Planet of the Apes that brings humanity down. And in that, it was about an uprising, you know, like a fight for rights. Where in this, it's more of a fight for survival, and it's more of just like this. It's more of a conflict that is so much deeper than what they set up in those original Planet of the Apes movies. You know, it's so much deeper. It's like no one wants war until it's forced upon them, and at that point, like at the end of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Caesar's left with no choice but war. I mean, he even ends. I didn't ask for this. You know, I didn't want this. Kubo started this, but
and in the trailer for War of the Planet of the Apes, it's the same thing. You know, I mean,
damn sure
didn't start this war.
Exactly. Yeah, but he'll damn sure finish it to make sure that his people exist.
Sure.
One of the things in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes that brought me to tears was the injured and, you know, what you thought was dead Caesar goes home. Like, he goes home and he looks out that window that when he was young, he looked out. And when he looked out that window when he was young, it was all about a world that he didn't understand, a world of wonderment, a world that he longed to be a part of. And now he looks out of it and it's dark and it's gloomy. And he's looking out this world and he's in his home, but it's not home anymore. You know, the home is out there. Home is protecting those that he
grew up.
serves.
He's mature and beyond that point.
And that's what it is, dude. This is like, it's almost like watching, like you can watch this, and if we were apes, it's like watching our Lincoln fucking biopic.
It's true.
It's watching that.
True.
If we were apes, that's what we're watching. Like you know, if it ended like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. They look up at the Lincoln Monument and it's fucking Abraham Lincoln ape. Like, that's what Caesar is, man. He's a fucking leader for them. And
I know
we're not rooting for the humans in this. We're fucking rooting for the apes.
No, we're not.
And that's one of the things I love. It shines this dark light on humanity. And it's not saying that humanity's dark. It's just saying that humanity.
That's the great thing. It opens that great conversation. Yeah. It doesn't blame any particular person.
It's just showing us our own dark side.
Sure.
But in the
it shows the possibilities of danger within the human race.
Exactly.
As far as evolution.
Exactly. And it also, like, it shows not just that. It shows us like this part of ourselves
in science
that has the ability to be compassionate towards our enemies, but also relentless towards our enemies. Like, if you look at Jason Clarke and his interactions, like he finds out about his enemy on a personal level and he sympathizes with them. Gary Oldman never has that opportunity, so he always sees them as the opposition. And Kubo, vice versa, is the same way. And
absolutely.
It's one of those things that, like, it sells these points on so many small levels throughout its story that really build it into this thing that it's become, where it's like, this is, you know, War for the Planet of the Apes is my most anticipated film. It's not because Woody Harrelson looks badass with a shaved fucking head.
Sure. Well, it makes me also wonder if there is going to be any human characters that have some kind of empathy towards the apes.
No, it's opposite this time. It's opposite. The apes are in the war, and I think the story this time is going to be the apes are so entrenched into the war that humanity is such the enemy for the apes until they find this little girl, and they remember that humans, there are good humans, because we see all those scenes, right? We see those scenes.
So Woody is probably going to be just a straight up bad guy.
I think so.
Obviously,
I think so.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be the mustache twirling villain.
Sure.
But the little girl was a representation of our innocence.
And they've been showing that a lot in the trailers and also in the poster.
But they've also been showing the apes fighting with humans against other humans. They've been showing. I mean, but the big thing is kind of like this juxtaposition between the wartime leader that Caesar is now and the presence of this small human girl. You know, it's because
he knows who she is. He knows what
gentle
and fragile she is.
He knows that the heart of a child holds no malice. Human or ape, she can't carry on this war. You know, in the future she might be an enemy, but right now she's not his enemy. And it's like this compassion that he has for life that really is making me, watch this movie. And I mean, I know Andy Serkis is kind of like, he's not the only guy in town doing mocap, but fuck, he's the only guy like revolutionizing mocap. I was actually really hurt when he didn't even get a nomination for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
It's still really sad, and maybe this movie, because we're hearing really good buzz about this movie.
Yeah. Oh,
maybe
well, that's the
this
thing.
Is finally going to be.
Then we're not just hearing good buzz; we're hearing great fucking buzz.
Well, exactly.
You know that shot.
I'm trying to curb my enthusiasm.
Dude,
pun intended.
It's really tough. It's really tough.
It is really hard
because the screenshot. Trying
to stay calm and not get too like.
If you haven't seen it, the screenshot we're talking about, it was posted on Twitter by a bunch of reviewers, a bunch of people who got early screenings of War for the Planet of the Apes, and it's this written message that basically says, like, you please go out there, please talk about this movie, please tell everyone how you enjoyed it, do not give away any spoilers, do not write it, do not score it, do not do anything until embargo is lifted, but please, go out there and talk about it. They're basically saying, like, we're so fucking confident that everyone's gonna love this movie that we're giving
almost like Civil War, like for this far in advance.
Yeah,
it almost reminds me of Captain America's Civil War, because this is what they did it almost a month in advance. A month in advance, they didn't lift the embargo. They just let the professionals have a small dialogue, just their impressions. It's a great movie, and that's what everybody's saying. This is a brilliant movie. This is a spectacular movie. This is a perfect movie. It's one of the best trilogies that's been coming out for a very long time. And god damn, I mean, and it's unbelievable that it's come to this point. I mean it really is.
Me and you have a very busy July.
We really do.
Dude, we got Spider-Man Homecoming.
But this is by far one of the most anticipated.
That's what I'm getting.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
July 7th.
I'm not all that crazy about watching that.
Not like I am this.
No, absolutely not.
Spider-Man Homecoming, War for the Planet of the Apes on the 14th.
And then Matt Reeves has returned to direct this.
Yeah. Dunkirk on the 21st. I mean, dude, July is going to be fucking nuts. But
it's going to be really exciting.
This is 100% the movie that I'm looking forward to most in July. And Matt Reeves, I've been blown away with this guy. Just more so in his directing of these films than a lot of what else he's done. I
really hope that the Batman does come out and that he is still the director, because
him taking over for Ben Affleck, I was like,
it's a really exciting thing.
In my mind, I was like, better choice.
Especially now.
if you can make me believe that an ape is human, you'll 100% show me the human side of Bruce Wayne
as a bat.
Yeah, you'll show me the human side of Bruce Wayne. I believe it. I think you can do it. This is my 100% most anticipated film of the year. The reason me and Jay are talking about it now is, I mean, we're probably not going to have time to really get into talking about the Planet of the Apes films until this one comes out. And when we talk about that film, when we do our review for it, I don't want to spend our time talking about the films that came before it. I want to talk about that film. So we're just taking our time now to talk about, just shower our praise for this franchise that I'm not sure if even, anyone understood that it was going to be this. I think by the time they were in post-production for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, they might have realized, we're heading in a direction with this that not sure everyone expected. They could have easily gone into, just building us to Charlton Heston finding a statue. But instead, they're creating this whole world. And to the point that, I was like, Charlton Heston who? I don't give a fuck about that original movie. And not saying it didn't do fantastic things for sci-fi films, not saying it didn't do fantastic things for it's not a fantastic film. It's just, it almost doesn't even hold a place in the same world as this anymore. Like, what we're believing here and what's going on here is so much deeper than what was going on then. On the surface of that, there's some political satire there, but I feel like this is just rife with political satire. It's just rife with emotion. It does it in such an emotional way that it makes it hard to not watch it. It makes it hard to not want to see it, and super excited for it. So really sorry to bring this podcast down on such a down note, but I mean, it's not really a down note. It's a note of excitement. We have our yucks, but in the end of the day, we're a movie podcast, and it's tough for me to not let something like these early reviews go by without us talking about them and saying just yeah, fuck yeah, this is the thing that we're looking most forward to, and I hope everyone else is too. And plus, we just recorded for Netflix and Swill our top 5 comedies for 2 hours, which killed us.
I think it's important to to support these kind of franchises, because this is honestly, people, this is rare. This is really rare. I mean, we have other franchises that we've been talking about recently, and
right.
the Alien and the Pirates, they've all failed.
But doesn't it make
come
you
up to the standards that we have to uphold? And then you have The Mummy, for example, who's trying to kick off a franchise who can't do it.
But not just that. Doesn't it make you sad that, and I'm not saying Wonder Woman's a bad film, but doesn't it make you sad that this has no chance of making even close to Wonder Woman money?
Yeah, but I get it. I mean, I get it though.
I feel like the world would be a better place if a more general audience understood things going, not understood. To say that means people are stupid. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if more people could gravitate to a story like this, a story that tells more about the human condition by using apes than you could ever tell a story about a woman who's a demigod. That's not to knock Wonder Woman. Fuck, Wonder Woman's fantastic. We showered praise all over Wonder Woman. It's just this film. It'll make its money back and then some. But it's not going to break records. It's not going to. It's not going to set the world on fire. People are really going to enjoy watching it. The people that go and see it, though. But most people are going to wait until this is popped up on their HBO. I mean, most people, this is not on their radar. For film fans, it's on their radar. For general public, it's a thing that's happening that they'll get to in 3 months, 6 months.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
So thanks a lot for listening to our show tonight. I have been your host, Super Movie Brother Dave.
And I've been your other host, Super Movie Brother Jay.
You can find us on Twitter at Super Movie Pod. You can find us on iTunes, Super Movie Brothers. Please leave us a 5-star review. Let us know what you enjoy about the show. That's how we grow. That's how we get seen. You can also check out our network at Movie Pod Squad on Twitter, and also check out the website, www.moviepodsquad.com. There you can find awesome reviews written by Jay or myself for latest films that we've seen. You can also find reviews written by the rest of the guys from the Movie Pod Squad network. You can also find cool things like music videos from Who Spiked the Puns. Anything that people do creative, we like to post it up there in the grab bag section. You can also become a Patreon, and you can help support the network, support the shows that are on it, keep the lights on for us all. So that way we can continue talking about the shit that we love, and hopefully the shit that you love to listen to. Thanks a lot for listening tonight. Have a great night.
Cheers.
Cheers.